Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at this etrailer pipe mounted jack. This is going to offer a 3,000 pound weight capacity and 10 inches of travel, so good for maybe some of your smaller trailers. Let's check it out. This is going to be a Sidewind jack as well, and it's got a pretty long handle. I don't love the Sidewind just because I have to crouch down and it's a little uncomfortable to operate it on a smaller trailer like this, especially when I'm all the way down here. I'm hunched over and it's just not comfortable. Compared to something like a topwind where the handle will be up here and I'm operating it from a much more comfortable height. The thing you run into though is with a Sidewind, you're probably gonna have less clearance issues here because we can have something like a toolbox sitting on our trailer frame only this far away from the jack, whereas with a topwind handle, more often than not, you might have the same turning radius, but with the way it's shaped, that topwind becomes an obstruction a lot quicker. So if you've got clearance issues, then Sidewind is probably the way to go, depending on how your jack is oriented. But if you can, I think topwind is the more comfortable of the two. With that travel, you got to keep in mind some of the actual measurements. And the way they're going to measure this is from the center of the pipe mount to the bottom of the footplate. Fully extended, it's going to be 20¼ of an inch, and fully retracted, it'll be 10¼ of an inch. We've got it somewhere in the middle right now, maybe favoring that fully extended position. So you can see that if we were to retract it all the way, it's going to be pretty compact. Again, good for a smaller trailer like this where space is limited. The obvious advantage to these swivel mounted pipe jacks is the ease of flipping it out of the way. You can fold it up sideways and just repin it if you can get those holes to align. But that's why some of the measurements we gave earlier are so important. From that center point to the footplate, you want to make sure you've got clearance there because more often than not, you might find that the bigger jacks are just going to cause more problems. That's what we ran into today with the smaller trailer for sure, but again, with a smaller jack like this, it's less of a concern. The other thing to look at though is the top side measurement. From that same point on the center of the pipe mount to the top of the jack, it's 6½ inches. So that'll let you know what kind of clearance you're working with up here too. As far as construction goes on here, on the footplate and inner tube, you'll notice a zinc plating. The outer tube is painted black, and both of those will work together to protect against rust and corrosion. And as far as the internals go, to keep the gears operating smoothly, there is a built-in Zerk fitting where you can apply grease. That's going to make maintenance a lot easier, and if you ever needed to, you could remove these bolts. There's one on either side of this top cap, fully remove the top cap and get more unhindered access to the internals if you needed to replace some parts. But for just normal, regular maintenance, like applying grease, you've got that fitting there that makes it a bit easier and quicker. As far as the install goes, you've got a couple different paths you can take there. On our trailer today, we already had a pipe mount just welded on from a previous jack, so that's what we utilized. The jack itself here on the mounting bracket has a 2-inch inner diameter, so that's how we knew it would fit. But this does come with a new bracket if you wanted to weld one on yourself or have someone weld it on. That way you could place it wherever worked best on your trailer measurement-wise with clearance. And if you didn't already have one, this would be your way to add it. But you might not have the ability to weld, or you maybe don't want to pay someone to do that. There is another option, and that option is going to be a bolt-on bracket from etrailer. It's going to utilize these holes and included hardware to bolt through your trailer frame and give you the exact same mounting point you would have had before. The thing to consider is the weight capacity here. This has a 3,500 pound capacity, which when looking at the lift capacity of this jack is great. You'd be getting the full support there. But the jack does have a static weight capacity, and that's going to be 5,000 pounds. So really it can support 5,000 pounds if you're not actively raising it up. That's where you would run into limitations if you used this bolt-on bracket here. So just keep that in mind. Be sure to not overload it if this is the path you choose. But if you're only ever going to be loading it up with about 3,000 pounds, then you'll be good. So overall, this is a pretty solid option. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the Sidewind handle. And because this is a smaller jack, the problem is only made greater for me because, again, you just have to crouch down a bit more to operate this. But that's a pretty minor gripe. I like the built-in grease zerk. The footplate I think is more than wide enough for what the weight capacity is, and it's smooth to operate. Not to mention its small stature makes it work really well on our smaller teardrop camper here, making it an excellent fit. And if you have needs similar to that, then I think this could be a good option for you too. Thanks for watching.